Welcome to Monday. It's November 10th, 2025. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at WyomingAdvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, here we are with another quiet week of weather coming. We're going to see an Arctic blast over on the eastern side of the U.S. And when Arctic air and stormy weather hits the central and eastern U.S., that means high pressure in the west. And that's exactly how this week will go. And we're going to have another stretch of unseasonably mild temperatures, breezy conditions, dry conditions. There's just no real significant moisture that's going to be able to come through. Now, by the weekend, a pattern change is coming, but confidence is low on the extent of the change. A little change, a big change. Will this lead to other changes? It will. But whether or not the changes this weekend will be something that will stand out or not, we're just going to have to wait a day or two to get a little bit more data in. In the meantime, we're going to have more periods of beautiful sunrises and sunsets because we're going to have high and mid-level clouds, a lot of high clouds, and that will give some clouds some shape, some lenticular structure, and these fire sky season pictures will continue to roll on in. Look at that one out of southeastern Wyoming yesterday evening. And from Belle Fourche, South Dakota, over to Johnstown into Nebraska. Just a beautiful fall scene across the weather. Calm waters there in Monument, Colorado. And again, the sunrises and sunsets are going to be very, very good. Here's a shot of the clouds and the coolness that came in with that cold front that sideswiped the area Friday night into Saturday morning. Some of you woke up to a little bit of snow on the ground Saturday morning from some brief snow showers. Solar activity remains very active. I know last week we showed you that solar activity was picking up and some auroras might be possible. That didn't really come to fruition, but there's been a lot more going on. We've had more X flares happen over the weekend. So Jan got out his telescope. Again, do not look at the sun through binoculars or through a telescope. You've got to have special filters. But if you look at these larger sunspot complex right here, it's Earth facing right now and is throwing out a lot of activity. So you can see we've had strong X-class flares and coronal mass ejections are going to be coming out of those. So for you sky watchers with generally fair skies expected this week, there might be an opportunity. A lot of high and mid-level clouds along and east of the Canadian Rockies, but you can see a lot of high pressure and a lot of nothing going on right here, right now. All the weather is in the east where that deep trough of low pressure and the pipeline of Arctic air from Hudson Bay continues to plunge south into the area. Wild lake effect snow with 50 and 60 mile per hour winds in parts of Michigan and parts of Illinois and Indiana here over the last 24 hours. This crazy winter weather here in the middle part of November. And you can see the edge of the Arctic air boundary is pushing into the deep south right now, as evidenced by the blue clouds right here. And that's going to continue to plunge south. And look at these temperature anomalies by tomorrow morning. We said when it's cold in the east, it's warm in the west. That's something you can take to the bank like death and taxes. That's just the way the patterns work across North America. So that's where the cold air is going to be. And tomorrow morning, they're going to wake up to temperatures like this in the southeastern United States. And we hinted at this late last week that there was a good chance it was going to be colder in Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi and Alabama and South Carolina than it would be in parts of the Intermountain West. This is for the same time tomorrow morning. So 40s, even some 50s. Yeah, there'll be some 20s and 30s, but yeah, Florida, parts of Florida not even going to be as warm as parts of the Intermountain West. And there you can see the lake effect snows coming into northwest Indiana, southwest Michigan, parts of Illinois, then along Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Huron there. And it's the anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald, wintry weather, stormy weather up there as well. Now, as we go into the end of the week, we're going to see that low work its way out, head up into northeast Canada. A broad area of high pressure and mild Pacific flow will dominate the pattern. So we bring back Pacific air to the country again. By mid to late week, that will lead to moderating temperatures even here in the east. Now, this low right here is going to either do two things. It's either going to want to come up and merge and become just kind of a broad trough and swing through by the weekend, or the base of this trough will break off and then swing across the desert southwest and then come back up later in the weekend. But with high pressure building here now finally into the Gulf of Alaska, that's going to kind of flip the script. And the general trend will be for a trough to form in the west somewhere while the east warms up. And we can see that by Sunday. So the AI version of the European model wants to break off a low and have another one come in and hold back off the west coast. And then this maybe dumbbells up this way by late Sunday into Monday of the weekend with colder air coming in behind it. But this solution right here, don't know. It just may come through as a frontal system. Regardless, something's coming through this upcoming weekend. But as it unfolds and the structure and how the details come together, we're just going to have to wait a couple of days. But the patterns are changing up here. We've got a block forming up here in Greenland. When we get a Greenland block like this, where the storms that'll come off the Pacific and into Canada get bottled up a little bit more, and this is a colder pattern longer term, but not for this next week, as it's going to continue to remain very mild. Have yourself a good Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.